Clearly, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this very important debate. And Minister, there's one specific question that I hope you will respond to when you contribute here later, and that is, I want from you, Minister, a categoric commitment that electricity supplies to homes around this country will not be cut if there is a tightening of supply this winter. We have the perverse situation at the moment, because of the fear that has been instilled in people, that we have older people forking out €1,800 to buy backup diesel generators in case their electricity supply is switched off. And the government and the regulator, the Commission for the Regulation of Utilities, is causing this panic, especially among older people, and sadly, even the more vulnerable people, people with medical appliances such as those on dialysis. And the reality is, if supplies are cut this winter, it is to secure supplies for high electricity users, and that is immoral, and we need a categoric commitment here that that will not happen. Now, Minister, I've made my views known in relation to speculative data centres in this House ad nauseum for a long period of time, and I'm not going to go into it tonight, but I will come back to the issue of data centres and the opportunity that they can now provide. But let me make it crystal clear, Minister, that if electricity supply is cut to homes and families around this country this winter, then we need to see resignations. Resignations at government level and resignations from the regulator. And the reason that that would happen is because of the failure to deliver on key initiatives, such as this rooftop revolution that we've been promised. And we all know, and you know, Minister, the reason why that hasn't happened is because of the industry bigotry blockage against rooftop solar. And as you know, Minister, I went against the departmental advice, the industrial advice, to sign Ireland up to a legal obligation to start paying for microgeneration from June of 2021. And I did that because I knew that it would not happen here domestically unless there was a legal obligation put on at EU level to make this happen. That was to happen from June 2021. As of last month, just one energy provider in this country is actually paying for rooftop solar microgeneration that has been supplied onto the grid. And that is sending out a message to people that their energy is not wanted. If we want to make that happen, if we want to encourage it, yes, the bulk of it will happen through self-consumption, but people need to be paid for the excess. And Minister, it's within your control and the control of the regulator tomorrow morning to ensure that people are paid at the stroke of a pen, and it needs to happen. That's the legal obligation. And we're going to have a perverse situation where the European Commission will actually fine Ireland for not implementing a regulation that people that have rooftop solar are being paid for the excess electricity that they're generating at a time when we have a shortage of electricity in this country. And speaking of the bigotry blockages that are there, another one of them is in relation to the whole area of natural gas. And as you know, Minister, I directed that a report be completed on the future of the Kinsale gas fields when I was Minister, in advance of legislation that would have to be enacted by this Parliament in relation to the decommissioning of that. When we got the briefing from your department back in December of 2020, I asked for a copy of that report and I was told that it was imminent. The legislation came through this stall in spring of 2021. We did not have this report. As you know, Minister, I've asked on numerous occasions for that report, and last spring, 12 months later, you told me that it was imminent. We eventually did get the report. Now it's gone out for public consultation, and the spin being put on it by the department is that it would require major investment. The southwest Kinsale Reservoir was operational, storing natural gas until April 2017. We are the only EU member state that has no capacity to store natural gas, and we need that capacity in the medium term, and we need to put that investment into gas storage off our coast on the Kinsale field. Minister, last month my colleagues and I brought forward a motion here before the House on the whole area of energy security. And in that motion we proposed the drafting and enactment of legislation to address the current supply deficit with an energy emergency measures in the Public Interest Act with a sunset clause of 36 months. And that legislation would do a number of things. One, that it would actually ban any threat to turn off the electricity supply to domestic customers and critical social infrastructure such as hospitals, schools and nursing homes. And that needs to happen. Secondly, that we would reopen the 250 megawatts of electricity available to us in the Midland power plants in Lanesborough and Shannonbridge, which should be used to burn biomass. And to facilitate that happening, we need to suspend the licensing regime for the thinning and the felling of forestry to facilitate the use of brash to fuel the Midland power plants with biomass, rather than that biomass being exported out of this country at the moment to actually fuel power generation in other parts of Europe. We also need to direct the data centres and other high demand electricity customers to use their emergency backup generators when supply is in short supply. And particularly, they all have to run their generators once every 24 hours. Why not ask them to run them between 5 and 7 p.m. to take pressure off our electricity grid? And Minister, we need to temporarily at least repower the Derry Brine wind farm and ring-fence any profits from that for the local community and towards a local environmental benefit fund. And Minister, the government need to acquire, through Gas Networks Ireland, a floating liquefied natural gas terminal to be located either in Cork Harbour or the Shannon Estuary, which would ensure that we also ban the sourcing of frack gas for that, but using compressed LNG that can be exported from other parts of the globe where they have it in surplus supply, where it could be used in the short term as a temporary reservoir to reassure people across this country that the lights will not go off this winter. Thank you.